Okay, here's the situation. Hashtag Curry's are here. I'm Lawan Curry.
And I'm Tara Curry.
And we have a great topic for you guys today. And we want to start off by asking you, telling you folks that when you do get married, you marry a person for their strengths and their...
We actually have a couple of different things we want to fill that in, but today is
that's true.
that you also marry their coping skills.
Coping skills. How is coping skills defined? Coping skills is defined as, and I did take the privy on looking it up, but just to make sure that we're all on the same page. These are psychological mind things, right? That strategies that help us with our behaviors that, in terms of we want to deal with stress, how we're dealing with it in stressful situations. What do we do?
A lot of times when I am doing like a coaching session or facilitating a group discussion, I will ask people, what do you do? What is your go-to when you're overwhelmed, when you're stressed out, when you're angry, or just when life has you here? What is your go-to? That's your coping skill.
In a lot of my programs that I do, we ask folks, how are you taking care of yourself? And that one reveals, what are you used to doing to help you get through the day, get through the week, get through the month, right? Because times in the ebb and flows in which we live today, I told folks you could be stressed out at 7:38 a.m. in the morning. And the thing about marriage is this, folks feel that energy, right? So if you're not carrying good energy, how are you carrying your luggage, in other words, right? If you're not carrying good energy, how are you going to travel, right, in your marriage, going along with each other through life? And you want to travel with light luggage. The lightest luggage is possible, I think, because we're always going to carry some.
That's good.
So this is what we're talking about today. I think in some of my big learning in our going on 3 years of marriage is that, and I think we touched on this before in our own personal conversations, but some of the coping skills that I had individually
As a single person,
don't mesh while married, right?
Yeah.
And I think the one that we talked about, one of the ones was like isolation, right? You can isolate yourself. You're single. I'm gonna just go off on my own. I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm gonna just leave people alone. Married, that's really not an option. Leaving people alone, gone. That doesn't resolve anything. So I think it's important that is a good one thing that I learned, just in terms of carrying stuff over from your individual to your coupling. And the other thing I've learned is that your spouse can also meet you halfway when those stressful situations occur and they start to realize them. Sometimes it may take time. Once again, we're going on 3 years. There's still some stressful situations that she's like, whoa, all right. That just may still kind of catch her off guard, but a lot of other situations, she'll meet me halfway, right there. So those are my two takeaways.
Yeah.
In this particular topic, because when they say for better or for worse, this is that worst piece that people are talking about.
Right.
And it's not that bad, but it's just something that you have to deal with in your marriage.
It's the growing pain.
Yeah.
Right? It's the growing pain. I'm always, because I'm a life coach, I always want to help people to know when you're, going over the top, when you've been activated or something gets to you, and know how to self-regulate, how to pull yourself back in, and how to regulate yourself so that you're balanced out again, right? And so that's a coping skill, learning how to do that for yourself so that you can regulate yourself back to what you consider normal for you, right? But I also want to encourage, with this conversation that we're going to be having and the ones after this, is together as spouses, as partners, as husband and wife, together learning how to form healthy habits, right? If you need to learn how to cope differently, because you realize, and we were just talking about this before we came on, but when you realize that how you coped as a single person is not healthy in a couple, in a marriage, when you realize that, then how can you learn new healthy ways to cope, new healthy habits that that's going to benefit your family?
And one thing I just wanted to touch on for men, and you know I got to always pose this in terms of men, because we have a different disposition when it comes to a lot of things. And so one of the things I want to make sure I dispel for men, the myth is the way you were when you're single is not your identity. Okay? You can't go into a marriage where, just because it may have worked in the past, it may have worked when you were single, but you can't go into a marriage where this is who I am. This is what I do. This is who I am. It's not who you are. Those things that work for you in the past may not necessarily work for you in the future. So just be very careful of that, because you can end up isolating yourself in a marriage and being, like my wife said, end up being roommates. The other thing I just wanted to touch on real uniquely here is the fact that this is might be my third takeaway here in this particular lesson, this particular session, is that you want to make sure that your coping skills, that you can do them in front of children.
Good, that's good. That's good.
And I'm not going to say that I'm innocent of this by any stretch. I'm human. And it's something for all of us to think about, because our children are watching. And if you have children in your life, anywhere, you know, I can say all ages, but definitely, you know, 17 under, what have you. Just the more influential ages, the younger, the more influential, so forth and so forth. But they're watching how you cope. They're watching how you deal with things. Like, they're watching how you deal with adversity. They're watching how you deal with each other. Like, if my wife triggers me, how am I dealing with that? Like, you know, and is she working with me in that case, because she ended up being the trigger, right? She may not be able to meet me halfway in terms of me trying to, what do I need to do? Count to 10 backwards, take a walk around the park, right? Instead of isolating myself, like just being away from people for 24 hours for 38 hours, 48 hours at a stretch, because I need that mindfulness. I need that me time, which is not available necessarily in terms of that isolation in a marriage, right? So these are just new things that I've been working on as well, in terms of what my kids are seeing and how I'm working with things. So maybe that's a third takeaway on my note.
That's good. No, that's that's really good. Because I think we've said it before, but I'll say it again, that being in this marriage, we've never done this before. We've never been here before. So who we were prior to this, we can still be who we are as an individual, but some of those things you can't bring into the marriage. Some of those things are not going to be healthy for the marriage. They're not going to work. Some of those things you might need help coming out of those places and learning how to compromise and collaborate and partner and come together. But you know, that's the whole point of this topic that we're talking about. You didn't just marry that person's strength. You also married how they cope. You also married who they are under pressure. You also married what they do when they get frustrated, right? And so learning how to form healthy habits around that is going to be beneficial to you, first of all, right? Because when you get triggered, or when you're upset or overwhelmed or angry, you're going to feel that in your body. And if you're a person that what you feel comes out of you, then that might be hurtful and harmful to the people that you live with, to the people in your life. So learn how to manage yourself in a healthy way so that it's not harmful to the people around you.
Yeah, that's really it. That's the key. Self-management is another way of kind of thinking of like positive, nurturing coping skills. Yeah. And I say positive, nurturing coping skills because obviously there's negative nurturing coping skills as well. So we want to make sure that those positive things are really being pushed and being assisted by the other person. Now, There may be situations like we talked about where you can get triggered by your spouse. But I think that as you do go through time and identifying what those triggers are, it will make the counterpart less offensive, right? Like, oh, why is that person doing that? Why does he have to go out for a walk? It's because they love you. Like they want to keep that space and being able to come back to a sweet spot, So those things are just very important. I just want to make sure I point those out.
It's important to know yourself and know your sensitive areas, and when you do respond, if that response is harmful, if it activates energy in your body, then that's a sign for you to pay attention to that, right? That's speaking to you. Oh wait, something's going on inside me here that I need to have some more control over, or I need to have a healthy way to manage it. And so it's important for you to know that. And it speaks to our love languages that we spoke in the last video.
Absolutely.
Right? So when you know yourself and you know what's going on with you, but then you also know your love language, or your spouse knows your love language, guess what? That's how I can meet him halfway.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Knowing his love language and knowing what he needs right now. Because if he's triggered, or he's activated, or he's in a place, I know that his cup is half full. It's not full because he wouldn't be responding. See, when you're full, you respond in a healthy way, right? And so if I see that he's not managing something well, or it looks like he's upset and he's angry, and you know your husband.
Yeah, you
know your husband. You know your wife, right? You know them, and when you see it, then these are the way that you can learn the healthy habits.
Yeah, the 5 languages is a place that you can go to help mediate those coping skills as you learn to balance them all together. Very good. I like that.
Yeah, I like the way that Holy Spirit just brought that to my remembrance. So,
absolutely.
And so look at God showing us how to love each other. Right? Look at God showing us how to take care of one another and be aware, not just take care, but be aware of one another and what each other needs. And so that love languages is important, right? Go back and review that. Maybe you guys could even write them out. Write out yours and write out his and put them up somewhere, maybe on the mirror in the bedroom or the bathroom mirror that you both share, so that you're seeing them constantly. Maybe we should do that for each other too, so that you're seeing it constantly, and that'll be a nice, healthy reminder. I need to, hey, did I speak his language to him today?
But more importantly, when that person is going through something and they're trying to find ways to cope, you're trying to balance out those coping strategies, to say the least. So thank you guys for your attention. We want to make sure we remind you to not only, ring the bell, tag it, flag it, whatever you guys do, we want you guys to make sure you remind us to, subscribe. And tell your friends about us and put in a comment or two, because once again, Curry's, hey, we're not afraid of any topic, so bring it to us, because we are after. What are we after, honey?
Oh yeah, we're coming for your marriage. The Currys are coming for your parenting. We're coming for your relationships, and we're coming for your soul care.
Soul care.
Because we want to make sure God is the center of everything that we do.
Absolutely. So thank you for being with us, and until next time. Peace.
Take care.